If the function g of x y is equal to 4e to the xy sine 2x cubed, find partial of g with respect to x and the partial of g with respect to y. Write it down, write down the question and make an attempt at it. Complete it, and then only after that you watch the rest of the video. Okay. So you paused, wrote it down, and completed the question. Let us see how it goes. You want the partial derivative of g with respect to x. That means you're going to treat y as if it is just a constant. So the partial g by partial x is going to be, now this is e to the something times x. Now remember, if you have e, suppose you had y equal e to the 3x and you're finding the y by dx, use the chain rule. The long method is to say let u is equal to 3x, then you say y is equal to e to the u, so dy by dx is equal to dy by du times du by dx. Du would cancel du here, so you find dy by du, which would be e to the u times du by dx would be what? 3. Alright? So you have 3e to the u. So you differentiate the power, multiply by the e to the whatever you have there. Same argument applies. Now, here, you have two parts to this. You're going to find, remember, it's not only the chain rule, but you will apply the product rule here. Right? Remember what you do? Partial by partial x off. Or let me read with that. What you're going to do is hold e to the 4x as it is, or to the 4xy as it is, time the derivative with respect to x of sine 2x cubed plus, I have to remember your product rule, you know, plus you hold sine 2x cubed as it is multiplied by the partial with respect to x of e to the 4xy. Okay? Now, we saw a while ago how you're going to deal with this part. So you're going to have something out here plus sine 2x squared times from what we saw a while ago, and differentiating with respect to x. This is a number times x. You could write it as e to the 4y times x, where 4y is a number just like the 3 that we had before, a number times x. So it's going to be that number, so it's 4y times, so when you differentiate 4xy, same as differentiating 4y x, you're going to get 4y, and then e to the power of 4xy. And remember, it's a power from the power rule, is x to the 1. So you say 1 times this times x to the 1 minus 1, x to the 0, which is 1. So this part is gone. So you have 1 by 4y, which is 4y. That's why you get this 4y here. You have to keep practicing to remember all of these things, you know. Alright? Now what's going to happen before? You're going to have e to the 4xy times something. That something will be the partial derivative of sine x cubed with respect to x. What do you think you will get? Now again, you remember your chain rule. Here, 2x cube is the inside function, which if you're using the long method, I'll say let u equals 1 and so on forth, u would be equal to 2x cube. Alright? And you would have sine u. So when you find the du by dx, you differentiate the inside function with respect to x, which we call u, differentiate 2x cubed with respect to x. You get 326 x squared times the outside function is sine of this. When you differentiate sine, you get cos of whatever it is, 2x cubed. As long as you've been practicing your chain rule for a long time, have enough practice, then you can just do it mentally. Alright? Instead of having to be writing out using the long method. Alright. Now, so simplifying this, the partial of g, partial g by partial x. Right? Partial g by partial x will be, so what's this going to be? It is 6x squared e to the 4x y cos 2x cubed. Alright? So you see that? So 6x squared e to the xy, and then cos 2x cubed plus 4y e to the 4xy sine 2x squared. Alright, so that's what you have so far. Right, seem like that's it. Now what else did they say you're to do? Alright, so here you will find the partial derivative of g with respect to y. So partial g by partial y now. So let's rewrite everything down here. G of xy equals g of xy equals e to the 4xy e to the 4xy sine 2x cubed sine 2x cubed. I want partial g by partial y. Partial g by partial y. Well, that one will be simpler because there is just one y there. You see, you don't have to worry about using the product rule now, but you still have to use the chain rule. You see the sine 2x cubed, all of this is like just one number, whatever it is. You're treating x as a constant, so all of this will become a constant. E to the 4x times y. The 4x part is like a constant because x is a constant, right? Now, suppose you have, suppose you ask y equal 3e to the x, to the 2x, and you differentiate that. Well, dy by dx would be, use the chain rule, and this would be 2e to the 2x, and the 3 would remain. So you have 3 times 2e to the 2x, right? Now a similar argument will apply to this. You see the 3 is like the sine 2x cubed, just a number times the e. Alright? So this remains sine 2x cubed. Because you're treating x as a constant here. So all of this is just a number. Alright. Then you have e to the 4x y. Now, the 4x would be like the 2 here. If you differentiate this with respect to y, you get 4x. So the 4x would multiply the e, just like the 2 come down and multiply the e here, right? So you have this time 4x e to the 4x y. You see that? So when you put all of that together, what you're going to get is just sine. Alright, let's put the 4x part in front, right? So you'd have 4x e to the 4x y, right, times sine of 2x cube. Okay, so that is what you end up with, right? 4x sine 4x e to the 4xy sine 2x cube.